Hello there, Kevin. I'm sorry I kept
Yeah,
saying Kevin because I think KVN meant like no Kevin, that type of thing, like the cavern, like cave, that type of thing is what I thought in my mind. But no, it's Kevin.
yeah, yeah. I should probably put it in a bio or something. Just
Yeah,
like
that's after
it's
this. We'll
just
make
my
sure we
name.
put that in the bio that it's Kevin, not Kevin. Although I'm curious to
Yeah.
ask, since we're talking about your name, why K? Why the letters KVN?
So, I mean, it's literally as simple as it's my name, no vowels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the start of my career, I don't, for a while, I was just so indecisive about, what to name myself. I went through everything. And a friend came over, like a long-term friend came over, and he just happened to have my name on his phone as KVN, and because
Mm.
he just had like he just knew a bunch of Kevins or whatever, and I just heard it, and it was kind of like a eureka moment, and I just thought, hey, it sounds like strong. It's simple. It's like sharp, like all the letters and stuff. I thought it would look cool on a shirt. That's kind of how I like visualized it, and
Mm-hmm.
then it just kind of stuck, and yeah, not too crazy of a story, but it's legitimately just my name. Yeah.
Understood, but shout out to your friend who put that in their phone in their phone for you, and it was like the stars kind of aligned from there. Now I'm
Right.
curious. Now also to ask, how long have you been producing for? Because for a lot of people who look through your discography, people think it all began on November 2020 when you did your very first Vendetta series, Volume One. But
Oh,
something tells me that may not be
yeah.
the case. So if I'm right or if I'm wrong, please tell me.
Yeah, I mean, so those mixes, man, you did your research. I love this. That I started as a DJ first and foremost, DJing like a kind of like a promoter as well, so throwing events and whatnot. But producing came about a year to year and a half after that. I forget if I did my digging, I could probably figure out like when exactly like I just started. Um, I'd have to go back into like my credit card, see when I bought like Ableton and stuff, but it was about a year to year and a half after that. I just kind of I guess somewhat like hit a wall, and I realized like if I want more out of this industry, better shows, whatever, I need to start pumping out my own content and my own music and whatnot. So um yeah, I can't even do the math right now, but it's been about 2.5 ish years producing. So
2.5 ish years producing, but
2.5 to 3.
to 3 years producing. That is good. So yeah, pretty much close to when Vendetta came in. I mean, I don't know if you still have the Ableton receipts to like really prove it, but either way, I know it definitely was around 2020, like I said, 3 years ago. So basically, 2020, 2021. That was like the like rising birth of Caven. I had to ask that mainly
Yeah,
because when I first saw, like, we go all the way back to your IG as well, when you popped the question, she said yes, beautiful moment, it was amazing. But then we
yeah,
saw a little something that said the new era of KVN on December 2nd, 2022. So I thought to myself,
yeah.
were you still producing before 2022 before we went to that next chapter, or was that like the prologue to the chapter one of the world of Caven? So I was trying to figure out that.
Yeah. So, from my memory, that was like a little teaser for my first like debut song that I
Yep,
produced and
mind
everything,
over
Mind Over
matter.
Matter, right? And so, yes, I was definitely producing a little bit before that. I would say 6 months to a year, kind of in silence. It was to the
Mm-hmm.
point where my friends and like my loved ones didn't even know. I was just kind of like it was like a secret like side quest project.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna lie, there were so many times when I almost gave up and I almost scratched the whole thing, almost just quit being a DJ altogether. But then,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why the song is called Mind Over Matter. Actually, there was just a lot of mental things going on in that process, and when I decided to drop it for friends, I decided to take it even further with a teaser and make it very dramatic. And came out with the track, and the rest is history, I guess.
The
And
rest is
here we
pretty
are.
much history. So I'm just curious to know,
Yeah.
like, was it hard for you to kind of I don't know, find your place in the making music or finding your sound? Because again, I'm so happy someone like you did not give up on producing and making music. That's great. Mind over matter, definitely reason why the song's called that. But I'm just curious to know what kind of thoughts or doubts were popping to your mind at the time that almost made you quit. Because who knows, the thoughts and things you were feeling at the time could be what some people are feeling now. Definitely during this time where I'm hearing a lot of certain producers who are rising, who are underground, are starting to just give up and throw in the towel. Understandably so, but I just feel like if they have one final push, or at least try it one more time, I'm not gonna force them to keep making music and be a type of person and constantly being like, keep on moving, don't give up. I'm not gonna be like that. It's their life, it's what they want to achieve, and okay. But I'm always that person that's like, give it one more chance, give it one more try, because you never know if what you might be thinking in your mind, what you want to produce, what you want to put on FL Studio, what you want to put on Ableton, what you want to put on whatever software you want to use, it could be the song, it could be the EP that could definitely give you that recognition that you worked hard to try and get to. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So what were the thoughts that were running through your mind at the time? Sorry for the tangent.
Oh no, you're good. No, thank you for bringing up all those points. Like honestly, like I could sense the passion and everything, and I'm like glad you brought up something like this. But I mean, persistence is like this. Is actually another name one of my songs. Persist. Persistence is probably the biggest thing, because yes, you're totally right. If you are in this industry as a producer, for example, you never know what one song is going to make you pop off. Right now, currently in my brand or whatever, Ecstasy of Soul, like the flip I did for that, that's like huge. Getting so much support, and I would say that's like the golden bullet for me, like right now, right? And the crazy thing about that specific clip, like ZZ is my Ingress, but mainly ZZ, they're my favorite artists of all time, and so I was happy to make that, and I was inspired by them, of course. But the thing is, after it was done, said or whatever, I published it. I never really saw it going anywhere. Like I just kind of posted. I didn't expect too many things out of it, until it got supported by Subtronics and whatnot. And yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, there were so many times, like, to kind of go back, there were so many times when I almost just like scratched everything, because one, it's really expensive. In the beginning, there's, especially in like production, for example, there's so many plugins, there's the software, there's just a lot of hardware, and a lot of like gadgets, all these
things
be
overwhelming
that you're
gonna
need, right? It's very, very overwhelming. And then the second thing is, it's kind of like the wild, wild west. There's so many ways to go about production, and there are teachers out there, but for the most part, it's kind of like a soul like venture, and it is important that you ask friends and you ask mentors or whatever, get whatever help you can. But that's like the hard part too, is like being vulnerable, artists being vulnerable to like seek that help, and it really humbles you, I guess. And so there are many times when I just felt inadequate. I had imposter syndrome. Just like as a I tend to be like a perfectionist for many things, and so as patient as I could be, there were times when I was just like, this isn't good enough, like, because I would be comparing myself. I'm not gonna lie, like comparing myself to like the greats, or like maybe even like some people around me. But I don't know what it was. It was probably just from like constant love and support, after like the first release and whatnot, that just kept me going until now. And over time, it just gets easier and easier and easier, and it becomes more of like a language, the whole idea of like production. And so yeah, I mean, those are just like those are like the first things that are like running through my mind with what you said.
Understood. So I'm just curious to touch on this part as well, where you mentioned that a lot of people they want to compare themselves, or try and match up to the greats out there who are really doing it, who are really reaching that type of level that they want to get to. And for all the shows that you supported, or you were a part of, like, of course, recently you were part of the Marauda tour with the Rise of Ascension. You were with Cyclops with his very first Crybaby tour, which is absolutely freaking incredible. Amazing job on both of those shows recently. I'm just curious to know, when you're around producers like that of such greatness, who grew to where they are now, it's what kind of helps you, not get too much into that mind of, I gotta be like this guy here, I gotta be like that guy here, I gotta be like the next ZZ, the next Subtronics, the next Cyclops, the next Marauda, I gotta be all these people who are just reaching these incredible levels. It's like, how do you like know? How do you like know wade through those waters?
Yeah, I mean, are you talking about like just kind of like being grounded,
Kind of like
like
being
in a
grounded
sense?
because
Okay.
I feel like, again, even though I'm not no producer, I'm just more of an interviewer, like no journalist type of guy. I do get in that mind where it's like, oh my gosh, I am in this
Yeah.
room with this legend here. I'm
Uh,
speaking to them. I'm seeing them, and
yeah.
some of them know who
It,
I am. And it's like, oh my gosh! It's like you feel like you're floating on air, but at the same time, I always say to myself, they're humans. They're making music, amazing music. Yes, that means so much to me and has saved my life more times than once. But it's like they're humans.
yeah.
They're just like me. We're made the same. We're made of flesh and bones. We have if you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? The type of thing. So it's like it
Right.
always keeps me humble, keep myself in the ground. And it's like, dude, I'm talking to a human being here. It's
Yeah.
their music is incredible. Their resume is amazing. Give them their flowers, yes, but they're just like you and me. So
Yeah.
take a deep breath and just stay grounded. So it's like, how did you handle that when you were like, being brought up to all these tours, all these like no supporting spots? Heck, you even had your own headline tour, the Unbound tour. Absolutely
Yeah.
freaking incredible. 12 shows. Did any of them sell out?
It's funny for that specific tour, the first that was like a self-routed self. Oh my gosh, like that was a thing. Thank you for bringing that back. Like it's been a while, but no, the first stop I ever played, the one in Oklahoma, that was the I don't know if it was considered like sold out. It was a lot of people. It was very packed. It was in Oklahoma, and it was for an unofficial.
The very first show, the Farmers Public Market.
Yeah, yeah. The location did move, but it was an unofficial after party for Subtronics's tour. I think it was his Anti-Fractals tour,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe the show was on like a Tuesday. I drove there to Oklahoma and back, just to play this. I got the headline, and yeah, it was like over 500 people. It was ridiculous. I would say on that list, if I had to go back, yeah, that would probably be the most. I don't think any of this stops are like sold out like that, but
Mm-hmm.
that would arguably be like the most packed, I guess, most tickets sold, something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. That
Yeah.
is amazing to hear. And again, like so many artists, so I've seen like no support, like no people in the after parties. Like I have also, I gotta give a shout out to Zavas, who also supports Subtronics during this Tesseract tour after he like sold out Barclays Center. I was there on that night. It was amazing.
Yeah.
However, and I'm just curious. I had to mention all that because, well, again, for someone that had their own headline tour, it's a pretty incredible feat. Don't get me wrong. But again, and be around all these amazing artists, like you met Subtronics. Don't get me wrong. How do you stay grounded and wade through those waters? Because you feel like you're floating on air, and some people they try and stay above the clouds. But believe me, there are gonna be moments in life where
Oh
they're
yeah.
gonna make you feel like you're dropping right down back on the ground, and the fall,
Yeah.
it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, yeah. So like I mean in the beginning, man, I mean even to this day, I still become like that fanboy all the time around a lot of these artists because I think it's like genuinely coming from a place of respect as well as like just like you were saying, you know, that music created some incredible memories or maybe even changed my life for the better, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like yes, you do want to give those artists props, but I've learned like to answer your question, after playing hundreds of shows, it's very important that you treat the artist with respect as well as like space because I think one of the last things that a like you know a headliner wants to deal with is just like feeding into your emotions. You know, like they're
Mm-hmm.
there for a they're there for a purpose. You know, they don't want to get swarmed by all these people and get all these like have to answer all these questions. There's like a time and place for everything. And so I've learned that in my experience, like, man, I need my space too right before a show or a set. And so that's why there's things like a green room or like just a place, a safe space for an artist to just kind of like decompress. So when I'm around these artists, I definitely take that into account of like, man, like you just gotta read the room. That's like the best way I could put it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are gonna be pockets of time or depending on the artist and stuff, where you guys are gonna be able to converse and you're gonna be able to open up a little bit more. And luckily I've had the pleasure of like doing that, but that didn't come without like some consequences first of like some with like mistakes, being kind of
Mm-hmm.
cringe at times or just I don't know, just being a little bit much. So yeah, here I am now, and like I think I have a better head on my shoulders, and that's something I definitely recommend or challenge other artists, up and coming DJs, whatever, to just be like humanize them, just like you said, and if anything, like try not to talk so much shop. Like that's the best I can put it.
Understood. Unless it's
Yeah.
Skrillex, then we can freak out. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, they're saying.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. But again, I meant Skrillex because he's like the
Yeah, he's like a
head
god,
honcho.
like in
I
this
just throw it out there
world. Yeah,
because. But
yeah,
again, you're definitely speaking truth regarding pretty much green room etiquette better than reverend. No offense to you, reverend, but
yeah,
again, thank you so much for that. We really do appreciate that. Now,
yeah,
again, you talked about, of course, the XC of Soul Flip. Adding the what is something people are not ready to hear. KVN, absolutely
yeah.
freaking incredible. Played by Leveltronics, both of them when they did their back to back. Played by Subtronics, played by so many other people out there. Amazing freaking accomplishment. But I
Thank
gotta
you.
talk about some of these originals, man. I gotta talk about some of these originals. Particularly, we gotta talk about a person who I had the chance to meet again and tell them how much I appreciate their work. May get an opportunity with them. The man Hesh Main. His
Oh,
his label FSN. I'm not gonna FSR. Not gonna say
yeah.
because I'm not. I'm 25 years old. I have not cursed once in my life, so I want to keep that clean.
What?
I'm not kidding.
What?
I am not kidding. There be times when I
That?
was close, but I made sure I keep my mouth clean. There is no soap in this mouth whatsoever. So I just say
Wow.
FSR.
That's amazing.
I always stick with the acronyms. But
Yeah, yeah,
Heshmain FSR with you and Karuza with the Hot Take EP. Am I correct?
yeah.
The
You got
Hot
it.
Take
Yep.
EP.
Perfect.
Those three tracks, freaking incredible, man. I'm curious to know what made you got noticed by a pretty big rising legend like Hesh to be part of FSR and make that three-track EP.
Yeah. I mean, that was obviously never like the true end goal. Like that's where it has to land. That's obviously where its home is now. But Karuza, Jake, and I, we had a show coming. It was for Hesh was coming to Richmond to play. He was also going to be playing Virginia Beach, I believe, the day after, 2 days after. And so in when we had this EP, we made sure that we had shows lined up to where we could present it, and announce it and get some good videos and whatnot. But basically, the way it worked was like we did our back-to-back show. Jake and I met Hesh. Jake kind of already had a small history with Hesh a little bit over in Virginia Beach and whatnot, and he was able to talk to him a little bit, show him music, and that's kind of what I was talking about like earlier. Like there's like a time and place for everything, right?
Yep, time and place for
So
everything.
yeah, I mean, yeah, he was impressed and went through the prompts or whatever, and then got approved to get onto that label, and yeah, that's kind of like how it happened.
Now I'm curious to know with some of these songs, out of the three songs, which one is your favorite? Is it Hot Take? Is it Click Clack?
Ooh, that's it. That's a good one. I sound biased, but like the hot take, right? The
The title track.
the title track or of the EP or whatever. What's it called? The vocal sample in the beginning, I actually sampled from Jim Morrison from the Doors, like from like years,
Yep.
like decades ago.
Who
And
also, that sample was also added in Breaking the Sweat with Skrillex and The Doors as well.
oh, I didn't know
If you
that.
didn't,
I didn't even realize that.
hello, there's a new generation's music. It'll have a
Yeah,
synthesis of most two elements and
I don't
some
know why they
third
put two
thing.
and two together.
That all of that was also added in Breaking the Sweat after
Uh,
like the first two drops.
that's wild. Okay, okay, like now I can hear it, but I never like tie that together. But yeah, it was like I came across it and it was like he was predicting EDM pretty much.
Yep.
And at the time it was like a giant hot take, so
And
that's
some people
kind
were
of that's
thinking,
kind of the
really, electronics, tapes, using
yeah.
machines, really, that's the
So
future. And
yeah,
look at the scene now.
yeah, popping off. And it was kind of like a what's the word? It was kind of like I try to tie that into I guess like what I do and like with music and like my sets very multi-genre. Very I take you through different styles of genres and eras and like tones, moods, whatever, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
it's very ADHD like with it, like in terms of like it's hard for me like pick. You'll notice in my sets, and so I think that kind of style of playing isn't too common. I think it requires like oh man, you gotta be very interactive with the crowd. You have to be a monster on the decks and just like understand like how it is
It's
to like
basically like
control that
multitasking to
crowd
the
as a D.
max.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I kind of tied into like my brand of just like I'm not necessarily branding myself with just one thing. I never want to be. I don't want to pigeonhole myself into that. So that's kind of like that was like the idea, and I kind of ran with that with Jake. But I mean, I love all three tracks, but I will say like I'm a little bit biased because like that was kind of like the brainchild of everything. The hot take.
Understood. And
So
but
yeah,
again, I give my props to you. I give my props to Karuza. Definitely give my props to Hesh for bringing you guys in the FSR family and giving us the
yeah,
Hot Take EP because it's definitely three tracks that are definitely incredible. And something tells me we're not going to be those tracks. They all hit. We're not. We're definitely going to be seeing them in the set list and future set list of KVN
oh yeah,
for many times to come. I can already imagine it. Although I am curious to also ask about this one other recent single that just came out, which is called Rumination, which you
yeah,
stated that this song here, a form of so it this I'm just reading it, I'm just reading what you typed down. A form of perseverative cognition that focuses on negative content, generally past and present, and results in emotional distress. So something tells me that this song here, in definition of what rumination means, basically tells me this is something that is going to really, I don't know, exemplify like the feelings of being negative or having that type of feelings, those type of thoughts within your mind, and you have like it like builds up within you, like almost like in the stressors, almost like you're pretty much like it's building within you. You can't take the pressure, almost like you're ripping your hair, tearing it out. That type of feeling, like you just want it to
yeah,
stop, you want it to end. How and I think that was like one of the songs that I think you mentioned tied onto like being like tied to mental health. So if you want to maybe exemplify that recent single a bit more, we appreciate it.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And even like every song in between and for future songs, like I think people are starting to understand like there's a theme with all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I went to
Which
VCU here
is
in
the
Richmond.
theme, which is
It's based off of mental health,
okay.
and just the mind. And I studied psychology in college, and I'm a DJ now. Like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
but I've always been so intrigued about the mind and how powerful it was, right? And so when I got and music is so expressive. It's a way for people to like just like establish themselves in society even, and just like um it's such a mood regulator, I guess, music. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
if I have the ability to produce music, I want people to understand that I'm trying to tie that and help people with this. So,
And
like, yeah, it
also,
started with
if I can
mind over
also, since you
matter.
mentioned, I got sorry for interrupting. Since you mentioned
That's okay.
you learned psychology, I feel like what isn't one of the isn't there like scientific proof that music is one of those things. It's like the ultimate therapy that helps a lot of people throughout so many
Yeah.
walks of their lives. Like,
Yep.
believe I'll never I'll always keep saying this till the day I die. Music is something that is so powerful, so universal. It means so much to millions and millions of people. Heck,
Yeah.
I'm a prime example of that. Music, especially electronic dance music, what I listen to on a daily basis, is one of those. Is the music that has saved me countless times. It warms my heart to know that I'm
Yeah.
giving something back to the community like this. And I'm able to tell some of these artists when I'm in the green room, when I see them on stage, and tell them that your music, your songs, without those songs, without your music, I don't think I would be here right now. I told
Yeah.
that to Ray Volpe. I told that to Virtual Riot. Some of these people who are legends, and I was able to tell them quickly, thank you. Just thank
Yeah.
you. Because without your music, I don't think I'll even be here right now. So just had to say that out there because music is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
powerful. But back to
Yeah.
Rumination.
Yeah. I mean, I think music just gives people room to express themselves. I think that's what it does. It just completely opens up your heart in a sense, and allows you to just like fully express your emotions, which is like amazing. But starting from Mind Over Matter all the way to I just released like The Fire, but right before that, Rumination. All of these track titles have a lot to not just has to do with mental health, but also like societal issues. I talk about that. I think about that in the writing process too. So Rumination is something. It was kind of a new word to me. It's somewhat of a new like term within like the psychological world, I guess.
Hmm.
But the idea of like self-loathing and just to be so like what's it called, obsessive over negative thoughts to where it's like almost like addictive, like that's kind
Hmm.
of a scary thought. And it's actually something that has been around like my like me and like people I've seen like TV, everything, right? And I'm starting, I
The
guess I
media,
was
it's
pretty.
they lure to the negativity of things. Why do you
Yeah,
think? Why do you think I tell people sometimes it's not always good to look at the news, especially in social media, especially when you look on TV. Do you really find that anything that makes you feel good inside? So that's why for me I always
yeah,
regulate if I'm when and whenever I watch anything that I really enjoy or like, I make sure at least there's a positive something to it, so that
yeah,
way at least I know I'm not just taking in negative information all over the place, because there's a whole lot of good in the world. You just gotta find those nuggets of goodness, hold on to them, and believe that that is something we can work on and bring to the rest of our world and our community.
yeah. I think it's so important to be realistic of your situation
Well,
and like if you can't control something, your best bet is just control your reaction to it, I guess. And so like yeah, that kind of all ties into all of this. That is something I was surrounded by a lot of negativity and whatnot. It was bogging me down, so I had to kind of like write about it. And yeah, so if you listen to the song too, it starts off with like, a lot of like violin, a lot of strings, which usually sounds very somber, really sad.
mm-hmm.
So like it was hard for me to kind of like express that, but when that part started, getting written down and like that was like when that was like the base of everything, it all just kind of came together really, really well. And I think some of the vocals within the song and just I don't know just how heavy it is. I think it hopefully people start to understand like this is like what it's about, like my brand and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted to have purpose and meaning. I totally understand the whole idea of something like music being funny and good for like TikTok, like whatever. You use all those like samples and just be comical or whatever. And I love that. Trust me, like I love having fun too. But I think I'm kind of pivoting a little bit to where like I want the music to be a little bit more serious and dramatic and like
Mm-hmm.
cinematic. That's kind of like an area I'm going into right now too. Like, because I'm a big movie lover. Yeah, so
Understood.
tying in mental health and like cinematics and stuff. Like it's been helping me like kind of stay grounded within like my own brand and not stretch too far. You know.
Understood. I will just throw this out there as well. Maybe, just maybe, are you aware of an artist named Emorfik?
Emorfik. Yeah, yeah. I know the artist, but I've never
I
met him.
feel like if it's possible, I think you guys can definitely make something together, because someone like him, when I interviewed him like a year and a half ago, I believe, yeah, like 2023, I believe, he also a lot of his music was also tying to a psychological. There was always a psychological edge to it. There was always a message he
Mm,
was trying to add to his music. You listen to songs like "Angry" or "Vicious Tendencies" and "Time." Heck, if you even listen to his debut album, "The End," it ties on those negative feelings, particularly the anger emotion, because he always says in his before he begins the show, who is ready for that angry, that kind of thing. He shows it
yeah.
out there, and so it's like he wants people to embrace that anger. Heck, if you even look at some of his
Yeah.
merch, his jersey, there's a beautiful paragraph or poem in the back that kind of speaks on that. But
Oh,
I
wow.
feel like you and him could definitely make something together, and really put your psychological and EDM loving heads together and make
Dude,
something
that'd be sick.
beautiful, something that's definitely hard hitting, of course, as you both do, but at the same time, definitely inspirational.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening, be more fake. Let's do it.
I'll make
Yeah,
sure I send this
that'd be.
little.
Thank you, dude. Thank you for like even bringing that up. That's amazing. Like, I gotta definitely check out more
I'll definitely
of his stuff.
send this to him, let's be a call to action to Emorfik that he knows the
That'd be
name
dope.
KVN.
Yeah, yeah,
That is awesome. And now, since we're kind of running low on time, I got that little warning from Zoom. I got to ask one last one question. What is
yeah,
next for KVN?
yeah. So next, first thing that came to my mind is like, man, I got some amazing shows coming up. I haven't even announced any of them yet. including one international one or maybe a second international one. So like that's kind of uh, that's obviously gonna be fueled by brand new music and whatnot. So like that process is has been really really fun. A couple of new collabs in the works too, and just having fun with it. I'm not trying to necessarily have this end goal, except maybe play Lost Lands at some point. That's like the Disney World, right?
Hey,
Then
hey,
it's like the
hey! You already
Super
got
Bowl.
your song was
So
played in a few festivals here and
hey,
there. I think especially Lost
I
Land.
know,
So
it's close.
it's you got your
Um,
foot in the door.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's always gonna be like a goal, but not something I'm hyper fixated on like all the time, or because just not safe for your mind. But I think in the meantime, just have fun and just kind of do my own thing and let the music speak for itself. I've been saying that all day for the last like week. There's so many people that are coming to me for like advice or whatever. Like I think at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want, but the music's gonna speak for itself. The stuff that you put out, how you perform, like whatever. And so I think that's what I'm focusing on more, and it's just better quality music and good collabs, good. If I get to meet people like Emorfik or whatever, and push the industry or push the scene in some way, like I'm gonna take every opportunity to do that. So that's kind of like what's next. I know it's kind of like that answer wasn't like a perfect answer, I don't think,
No, no, no,
but
no.
just
No, no, no.
yeah, all over the
We
place.
always ask like the artists about what's next. They may have a set goal, they may have a set path, like what is definitely be coming up. But some people know, some people are just kind of unsure. They definitely know what their purpose is and what they want to deliver to the world, and that is okay. That is okay, KVN. You are
Yeah,
no different from any other artist who I actually know what is next. What's next in the bag for KVN. Heck, it's I was like, no, it is okay, KVN.
yeah.
You are
I
no
guess
different. So
the only goal is just to be like consistent. That's what's next. Just be consistent and persistent. Like
that is gonna be most
there's
important to
yeah,
not just to you, but to all the producers out there. You if you
everybody.
because I feel like if you stop like what you're doing, if like if people think if you slack off a bit, then it's all gonna start going downhill. But here's the thing, that happens sometimes, and you gotta make sure also you got
Yeah,
if there's one thing important as well, you gotta take care of yourself as well. So it's
for
okay if
sure.
there's a few followers like no, you're not like no being so consistent with what you're doing, as long as you know what you're delivering, the quality is good.
Yeah,
You could put up like vid after vid after vid, song after song after song. If you don't believe it's your best work, then okay, tweak it, work on it, take the time,
yeah, for
find
sure.
inspiration. Like all that is also very important when
Yeah,
it comes to an artist. So it's not about putting something out to make yourself like quote unquote relevant. It's about what you are delivering, what you are giving to the world. That is the
yeah,
most important. Is it something that you can be proud of? If it's something that you can look back on and say, "Wow, I did this. I
yeah,
made this. I'm doing this, and I feel very good about this. I'm feeling great about this." And again, I'm kind of like talking to myself right now because I'm looking myself in the camera and I'm saying to myself, "Wow, I'm actually doing this, and I've been doing this for almost
yeah,
3 years, and I'm not stopping." I look around and see the achievements, everything I've done so far. I'm proud, but I know I definitely have ways to go. Just like you, KVN, you paved your path. You show people you can do this. You can do this if you believe in this, if you persevere, if you give it one more try. And look at you now.
yeah, yeah.
So
And I
definitely,
always
no, no, you
sorry,
finish.
I always tell people like you know, especially because it's like a bell curve. In the beginning, it's all fun. You're gonna get shows or what, all this recognition, and then like kind of like you hit walls and you kind of tank. You go down this bell, and then you start to realize. And I'd like to toot my own horn for a second and like say that I'm a part of this like coming back up from the bell, where like man, I'm like there. I'm already riding this like this momentum, so to speak, right? And so during that time, I always tell people like whenever you're at the bottom, like just don't give up. As cliche as it sounds, don't give up. Just take a break. Don't
Mm-hmm.
ever give up. Just take a break. And like whatever you were talking about, like, being inspired, or whatever you find that inspires you, like you know, for me, it's traveling. I love traveling, right? Anywhere new. That's where I get a lot of inspiration from. Like hone in on that a little bit more. Take that break. It's okay, but I think it's important to communicate with your loved ones, and if you have a social media following, it's kind of important that you like kind of let people know that too,
Mm-hmm.
that you need that time. But yeah, I'm going off on my own tangent, but I just wanted to like throw that out there to anyone that listens to this. Is just like, man,
Don't
just
worry. Yep, I'll make sure people
don't
know about
worry.
this. And again, the advice, the words of wisdom is definitely appreciated by me, appreciated by everyone else who's gonna be seeing this. And I just want to tell you, KVN, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with
Yeah.
me about this. It
Oh
really
man.
is humble, very heartwarming. And again, I would have not known about this or known about the power of you if it wasn't for me said, you know what, I'm just gonna go to a show, just not for business, just to enjoy it. And I chose the Must Die show, and that's where I first saw you.
Oh
I
really?
was in the
The
front
Must
row.
Have?
If you look at the IG, you see the tie dye colored dubstep shirt I had on my shirt, and my
At the
headband
Ave?
at the
At the
Ave.
Ave?
Yep, the Avenue
Oh,
Live.
okay,
It was
okay.
you, Fire
Wow.
Type, Jeekwe, and Must Die.
Dude, that was a good show.
It was a really great show, and you
Yeah.
were one of those people who made it great. I'm always a fan
Oh,
of
thank you.
hearing
Thank you.
and witnessing, the coming up people. That's why I always stay like in the lines like so early, because I know the openers are the people who are gonna be next in line. If only they persevere, if only they are consistent
Yeah.
with their
Oh,
work, they're gonna shine. And someone like you, KVN, is definitely going to shine. Why do you think people like Mustai and Jeekwe and Philadelphia notice the power within you? So the proof is in the
thank you, man.
pudding. The proof is out there. All you gotta do is
Yeah.
stay persistent and keep going. Again,
Keep going.
KVN, thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank you
you.
so
Thank
much
you.
for
This
the
was
time.
amazing.
And everyone here, remember the name KVN. 3 letters. It's easy to remember. It's just a K and a V and a N.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's
So
Kevin for you,
like check this out.
KVN.
It's like
Yeah!
right
Love
there.
that there.
Yes, sir.
Remember it, KVN people. This is Leveler Jr., KVN, Kevin, signing out. I love you guys so much.
Thank
Peace.
you.
Thank you, KVN, forever.
Thank you. Love you. Thank you.
Love you too, man.